right, of their presidency, unless, of course, they're Barack Obama. You see, the rules change with the Democrats. Filibuster, don't filibuster, do filibuster. Don't nominate in the last year of a president, do nominate in the last year of a president, don't nominate in the last year of president. Just depends who the president is. So their principles are very negotiable because they have none. Exhibit 5, go.
It is my view that if a Supreme Court justice resigns tomorrow or within the next several weeks, or resigns at the end of the summer, President Bush should consider following the practice of a majority of his predecessors and not name a nominee until after the November election is completed.
But it looks like Joe Biden, now vice president at the time, and his boss, President Obama, took a different position when Obama was president. This is from CBS News, March 16, 2016, Exhibit 6. Go.
I ask that they confirm Merrick Garland now to the Supreme Court so that he can take his seat in time to fully participate in its work for the American people this fall. He is the right man for the job.
So Antonin Scalia, unfortunately, passes away, and they want to put their guy in. A few years before, they said, no, you can't do that. Bush can't do that at the end of his term. Only Obama can do that, you see. But it gets even worse. Chuck Schumer, remember his name on all those memos? All those memos. He is the Svengali behind the whole thing, even today. Here's what he had to say this June 27, 2018. Let's check it out on C-SPAN 2. Go.
Our Republican colleagues in the Senate should follow the rule they set in 2016, not to consider a Supreme Court justice in an election year.
Now stop. That's not what they did. That's not what they did. First of all, it's not the last year of President Trump's even first term. They didn't set the rule that you don't consider a Supreme Court justice in the last year of a president's term. The Democrats set that rule. Then they broke the rule. Then they set the rule again. And if Schumer's right, which he never is, that would mean that the only time you can consider a nominee to the Supreme Court of the United States is basically every other year. Now, that's preposterous. Nobody agrees with that. Now, let's take a look at this. A piece by Mark Thiessen back in, July. The Democrats' big mistake was using the nuclear option to pack the federal circuit courts with liberal judges, because that's what they did under Obama. After Democrats won control of the Senate and the White House, they set about trying to fill court vacancies, particularly in the D.C. Court of Appeal. With judges so left-wing, they knew they couldn't meet the 60-vote filibuster standard. When Republicans, following the precedent Democrats had set, filibustered some of President Obama's nominees, the Democrats, again, broke precedent and eliminated the filibuster for all but Supreme Court nominees. Now, remember those memos I showed you earlier? They were filibustering circuit court nominees. Then they eliminated the filibuster for circuit court nominees to ram through as many of their judges as they could under Obama. The short-term game of going nuclear was immense. Obama flipped most of the circuit courts from conservative to liberal majorities, including the D.C. Circuit. They did more than that on the D.C. Circuit, the second most powerful court in America. They added 2 more seats. They not only stuffed the courts with leftists, they added 2 more seats so they could stuff it even further with leftists. The Democrats' mistake also was to filibuster Neil Gorsuch. After Republicans had won back the Senate, they refused to confirm Obama's choice of Merrick Garland to replace the late Justice Antonin Scalia, citing as precedent the promise made in 2007 by Schumer that Democrats would not confirm a Supreme Court justice during President George W. Bush's final year in office. And you heard Biden take that position. When Trump was elected and appointed Gorsuch to fill Scalia's seat, apoplectic Democrats made a fatal error. Instead of keeping their powder dry until Anthony Kennedy resigned, they filibustered Gorsuch's nomination. The decision to block such an obviously qualified nominee freed tradition-bound Republicans to end the filibuster for Supreme Court nominees and confirm him with a simple majority, which is why they're jumping up and down now. Their own back and forth, ends justifies the means strategies have bitten them. Democrats are accusing Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of hypocrisy, moving forward with a Supreme Court nominee during an election year. But McConnell never said he would not confirm nominees before midterm elections in the second year of a presidency. 3 sitting justices were confirmed in midterm election years. Elena Kagan, August 2010, a Obama appointee. Samuel Alito, January 2006, a Bush appointee. And Stephen Breyer, August 1994, a Clinton appointee, as were retired Justices David Souter and Scalia. Trump is going to do exactly what Presidents Obama, Bill Clinton, and both Bushes did before him. So there is another big lie by the Democrats, going back and forth on the filibuster, going back and forth on the issue whether a president should nominate somebody to the Supreme Court in the last year of his term, then in the year before a midterm election, and so forth. We are laying out the case for how the Democrats have hijacked the judicial confirmation process. They have destroyed the judicial confirmation process. And why? Because they want to stack the courts, every circuit court and the Supreme Court, with progressive statists, because they want issues nationalized. They believe in autocracy. They believe in the centralization of government. They can talk about people all they want. They can talk about women all they want. They can talk about old white men all they want. What they really want is power, and to maintain their power. And all roads for them lead through the Supreme Court, just as Woodrow Wilson said they should. I'll be right back.